Actually, now delving into the sacrifices of an entrepreneur real time, as in for real. There's something I want the staff of organizations to know. I want them to know that the life of entrepreneurship is the life of servanthood. The entrepreneur is a real servant, especially the real ones, the real entrepreneur. Remember, I've been emphasizing on the reality of entrepreneurship, the real entrepreneur. In subsequent episodes, I will draw a distinction between the real entrepreneur and just the ordinary entrepreneur. Now, but the emphasis now is on the real entrepreneur. I want people to know that entrepreneurs are real servants. They serve humanity. And I want to narrow it down to the staff of the boss. When you see your boss, just understand that the boss is your servant, is the servant to the staff, is the servant to the client, is also servant to the shareholders of the organization. Now, it is erroneous for staff to think that they are serving the boss. They might in to some degree, but the boss actually serves them more than they serve him. And that's why it's something that is very common that most organizations, especially in the early stages of entrepreneurship, the boss will always have a rough time most of the time towards the end of the month. Most entrepreneurs at the early stages of their entrepreneurship, when the businesses are still struggling to find their footings, you always find out that towards the end of the month, the bosses get restless. They get to be a bit edgy and uncomfortable. And those are the times that the staff will see them as people who have some emotional or mood swing because of the pressure of salary payment. It is something to of note that sometimes entrepreneurs will end up paying everyone, but they will go home with nothing. So when the staff are enjoying that today is the rainy day for the entrepreneur, to him, that day is actually a dry day because he's paid everyone and there's nothing left for him. I can't forget a particular incident that happened. One of my friends called me one of the days, that should be around the 28th of that particular month, to say, oh boy, that's what we fondly call ourselves. He called me, oh boy, I have a testimony today. I said, what is it? He said, today I have successfully paid all my staff their salaries without having to tell stories or without having to plead with them for patience that the salary will come. So I paid the salary in good time on the 28th of the month. I said, wow, that's a great feat because I understand what that actually meant. So barely had we finished that conversation, and he made a demand that actually got me thinking. He called me to say, in that discussion, he asked, oh boy, can I get 100,000 naira from you? And I said, you just gave me a testimony now that you successfully paid all your staff. He said, yes, but after paying all his staff, that he had nothing left even to take home to his family. Wow. I was taken aback a bit. I paused for a few seconds just to think. And now, in response, I told him, okay, yes, I can do that for you. I will send you 100,000. But there's something you will do for me. That's me now telling him, when you get home, put a call across to me. I would like to speak with you in the presence of your wife. And he did just that. When he got home, he called me and I told him to put the phone on speaker because I would like the wife to hear our conversation. So I asked the wife, her husband actually shared the testimony of him successfully paying his staff salary this month? He said no, that he barely just came in. I now took over the conversation and then explained to the wife what the husband has achieved, and the wife was also happy. But I now told the wife, said, your husband, after achieving that great feat, demanded that I should borrow him 100,000 naira just for him to hold the home front together for a while, and that he will repay me by next week. So the woman, I can actually perceive the silence on the other side of the phone. Before, I just broke the silence by telling the woman, I said, this is the type of man you married. One who can put others ahead of himself, who can put others first. That's a life of sacrifice. So I actually made that woman understand the state of the man's finances at that time so that I can actually prevent what would have been tension at home. You know, there's something about entrepreneurs, they have ego, and that ego at times, being a man comes with that ego. I'm also, when I talk about this entrepreneurship, I'm talking about both men and women. Okay, so the ego sometimes will not allow them to express themselves, even to their wives, to tell them the details of their financial state per time. So the woman understanding the state of the finances at that time will make it that the woman will not make frivolous demands that will put the man under pressure. So the woman will be patient enough to understand that at this time, we are not financially buoyant enough. And my actually hyping the man and emphasizing the rareness of that life of sacrifice before the woman is for the woman to know that this man is on the right track. So there wouldn't be that tension of, oh, you've paid everybody and then your home front is suffering. Because there's something they will always say. They will say, charity begins at home, meaning that this man, you would have actually made your home comfortable before thinking of that giving any other person their salary. That means paying yourself first. But one thing I tell them is when they say charity begins at home, I will tell them the person that said that, or the proponent of that theory, did not say charity must begin at home. Because if he had said charity must begin at home, I would have said, where is the place of sacrifice? So then my friend actually continued like that for some time. But few years after then, he became financially stable. Business was good. And as I speak to you, he can take care of his family very well. And he showers his wife and his family with every good thing that money can buy. It's not just about money. When you see an entrepreneur, some entrepreneurs love what they do to the extent that even when they are not making money, they keep doing it. Okay, so emphatically now, I want to state it. Your boss, I'm speaking to employees now, the staff of the organization. Your boss is actually your servant. And that is why most of the time, when you are comfortable, he can endure his discomfort just to make you comfortable. And most times when you dismiss from work and you get back home, rests, and then you are sleeping, your boss is keeping awake to ensure that he muster the creativity and put the ideas together and the structure that will ensure the cash flow of the business, that the wheel of the cash flow is actually running smoothly. So, and that's why some of you that communicate with your boss, if you call them very late in the night and wee hours of the morning, most times you see that they are awake, they will respond to your messages because they are actually up their feet, thinking and structuring and strategizing to ensure that you are kept comfortable. So as a staff, I want you to appreciate your boss. See him as more of a servant than a boss. He's there to serve you. He's there to serve the whole of humanity. Anyone you call your client in that organization, your boss is a servant to the person. And the shareholders of the business, your boss is also their servant. So I want this mindset to be in you so that when you see an entrepreneur next time, just know that you have seen a servant, a one who sacrifices his life as a servant.